UFO.
Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? All the non-viewers right now. Welcome to our podcast, which is now officially going to be named The Lounge. I think, I don't know about last time. I'm going to be talking a bit louder since last time my voice wasn't, I think, clear enough. But that's besides the point. I want to do a bit of housekeeping before we start off and send another tweet saying that we're live, because what the fuck's wrong with self-promotion?
Self-promotion.
We are live.
Generation Z.
If I can spell live,
Live.
V.
Oh, I'm still alive.
Okay,
Yeah.
so before we continue singing, so what I was talking about earlier with my pops, if you don't know, this is me and my pops on a podcast that we're going to be hopefully introducing a few different segments to the podcast just to make it it seems a little bit more organized, but even though it's still probably going to be as dysfunctional as ever. And one of them that you guys should be very excited for, which is probably going to be our last bit before we do our Sig Heils, which we end our podcast on, is going to be Pops' old-timey stories. And then I think that's really pretty much it for now for, telling you what's going on. So I want to talk to you and also my pops for a few minutes about having guests on the future. So I was talking to one of my favorite YouTubers on the Twitter DMs, and I was saying, hey man, I started up a podcast with my pops, and I was wondering if at some point in time you'd like to join in as a guest
In the lounge.
So at some point in the future, maybe next podcast episode, hopefully coming out this week at some point. We'll figure out the time. I'm gonna be more on point with going on Twitter for like hours earlier, shit like that, saying, hey, we're gonna be having a podcast today, but we're gonna be figuring that out in the future. But the guest is hopefully gonna be Satsu 2 Cents. Please check him out on YouTube. He has some really, really good content. Yeah, he's a black YouTuber, if that makes you more intrigued to watch. Oh, that's some more shameless promoting. So I think with guests, I don't know. So I want to make sure this conversation is live so that the viewers and listeners get to hear our thought processes on bringing on guests, because I want the lounge, our podcast, to feel like, hey, we're just sitting back, we're talking shit, talking sometimes about serious stuff, but you guys just get to hop in on with us, listen in, and also you can join us too. That's the whole feel that I want to have with this podcast, and I think we can achieve that. So like I said a few minutes ago about maybe starting some segments, I think either one or two things. It could be having a guest is just a segment for itself, or we have the guest on the show and he gets to talk about us with us about the segments.
That sounds good.
Yeah, and I really like that idea too. Since I really just want everybody, because I can't talk right now apparently.
It's time to rock and roll. Enough housekeeping.
Okay,
let's do business.
Okay, let's do business. So I could tell yesterday that most of you guys weren't that interested in us talking about NBA, and I realized that the majority of the people that listen to me couldn't give a shit about basketball. And you know, I say, go eat a bag of dicks. This is our podcast.
Yeah, give us a couple minutes.
Yeah,
We're two guys that just want to talk a little about the ball.
Yeah, so just basketball. We're big fans of it, and we're probably going to be having like a bit of it each day. But hey, guess what? The best part about podcasts is it's great fucking background noises. So you don't really have to pay attention. But if you start hearing something that you like, you're interested.
Yeah.
So
and there's other stuff.
Yeah.
You can just,
and guess what?
You
After
can go and smoke. You can go to the bathroom. You can get a soda.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if you got time to do a number 2, but you get a number 1 off.
Oh no, absolutely. Since the thing that we have to talk about the NBA wise, I feel like it's gonna last a little bit longer than a drop in a deuce.
Dropping a deuce. Well, for me, they're like volcanoes. It's not like a long process. My poops are faster than my peas.
Yeah.
Word.
That's
turd.
fucking crazy, but sure.
Word, turd. What's the topic about?
So, the topic, NBA wise, is gonna be NBA players resting, which is apparently a very fucking controversial topic on the internet.
It's really not controversial at all.
And I completely agree. It's just either one or two sides. It's either A, they shouldn't be resting, or B, they should be resting.
Or millennials are pussies. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe millennials gotta stop being pussies. It's okay.
Is LeBron James considered a millennial?
I don't know if he's considered Generation X.
Okay.
That's and it's not just LeBron, Steph Curry. He's a young buck.
Yeah.
He's
Isaiah Thomas rested for 2
Kevin
games.
Durant. Oh, he's hurt. Sorry, Kevin.
Well, he's gonna be coming back from what? MCL?
Yeah. Strain 2 and a broken fibula.
Jesus Christ.
But who else rested? Draymond Green. Draymond Green's like 26. At 26, I could bench press. No, I really couldn't bench press anything. I was going to go somewhere with that, but nowhere to go.
Hello, everybody that's just joining in. Just talking about some random shit about NBA right now. But so I saw a quote. Let me pull it up really quick. Let's see.
The quote for
Bleacher Report. It was from Bleacher Report, which I think is a great follow if you just like sports in general.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where the fuck did you go?
I just think that if I bought one of those tickets to see those games, I paid for a good seat, for a non-expensive good seat, at least $1.50, right, for a good team, at least $1.50 for a seat that I can not need a fucking TV screen to watch. So I spend $150. I go to arena. I spend $7.50 more on a Slurpee because a Slurpee at the American Airlines Arena just happens to be $7.50 instead of $2.50 like it is at 7-Eleven. But whatever, Slurpees are good things. So then you go out there and imagine that the man you came to see is off, LeBron James. I'm tired. I play a game for 2 hours a day. I'm so tired. Jeez.
Okay, I don't know if you guys. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna worry about that at some other point in time. So this is the quote that I pulled up. It's from Karl Malone, the mailman, who is an all-time great.
Yeah.
Sadly, probably, maybe the best
power
player
forward without a ring.
Or I think maybe even top 3 best players without a ring. I don't know who else would be in that conversation, but he was outstanding. Number 2 on the scoring list. Great rebounder, unstoppable pick and roll with John Stockton.
2 trips to the finals.
2 trips to the finals, back to back, by the way, which is getting there once is hard enough, but getting there 2 years in a row, that's a fucking challenge.
20 extra games, 25 extra games. That's
the
season.
And he didn't miss a lot of games.
Nah.
I think he had like 10 or so seasons of not missing a single game, which is fucking incredible, especially since back then there was hand checking.
You should read it.
But here is the quote. He says, quote, if you don't, okay, I fucked this up already. Let me try again. If you don't have at least 10 years experience, get your ass to playing. Hell, it's not working. It's called playing. And he brings up a
Right.
valid point right
Yeah,
there.
it's a game.
It's a fucking game.
It's a game. Oh my god, I'm so sad.
Yeah, and all the people that fucking watch it, we're seeing it as a game.
How does ABC feel? How does ABC feel? 3 weeks in a row now? 3 weeks in a row.
LeBron and the big three rested.
And Kyrie and Kevin, and the week before it was
the Spurs and all of the Golden States rested.
Right.
That was fucking upsetting.
So, like, there's really not a whole lot of nationally televised games on non-paid cable television. I mean, just regular television, and the ones that you get crap. Who wants to see that? You get your little kid to sit down on a Saturday night. Hey, little 4-year-old Dakota, or Tommy, just come here for a minute and let's watch LeBron James. Oh, wait a minute. LeBron James is eating hot dogs. LeBron James is eating hot dogs, taking a day off.
It is pretty fucking ridiculous. Let's see. What was another point that I wanted to bring up?
Shut up. Yeah, that was a good point.
That is
He's
a good.
trying to tell me to shut up, and he's right. I'll shut up.
So their whole counter argument was and I think Karl Malone did a really good job bringing the whole perspective argument into it, is that they see it as work and he sees it as playing. And I think that's what it really comes down to.
You know what Karl Malone does right now? And what he did in the off season? He used to drive a truck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this dude would drive around with a cowboy hat driving a truck. That's work. Playing a game for 2 hours, that's a game.
So I think interesting thing about some basketball players. So Karl Malone used to drive a truck during off seasons.
Yeah, 18-wheeler.
So then also another good one
He
is that yes, he did. Kawhi Leonard drives a 97 Chevy Tahoe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he said, or from an interview, they said that he bought like a Bentley or something just off of peer pressure, but he never drives it.
He gave it to his mama.
Yeah,
Mama, I got you a Bentley.
Which is incredible. But
why'd you buy me that Bentley?
I think my favorite story about people.
Jimmy said to Mom.
So I think my favorite story about people driving it's an old one. It's I think in 78 or so, players driving.
Oh,
is 78. There's a dude who's in the Hall of Fame right now, Dave Cowens. So what apparently he did, so he retired for 2 years, then returned back for like 10 games and decided it was retarded. I don't need to do it anymore. But for those 2 years, apparently what he was doing
selling cars,
was driving a taxi.
Word.
And the reason that people found that out was that a dude who was a huge fan of the Celtics, who was living in Boston at the time, got picked up to go on a taxi to go see the Celtics game, and he's like, "Wait, you're fucking Dave Cowens, who is back then the best player on the Celtics for like what 5-6 years so far." Or well, John Havlicek is really good too, but he won an MVP, he won Finals MVP, he was top tier. So if you were in Boston and you paid attention to the Celtics a little bit, you should have known his fucking name. But that's incredible that, hey, like, and also Larry Bird, he like did his lawnmower. It just seems like any like,
Larry Bird.
Yeah, it's incredible to think that people just drive their fucking like cars or shit. Just like, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But it's interesting. But
moving on.
Okay, so stop after boring you for 10 minutes.
Moving on to the next subject.
So the next subject is Mexican birthday parties.
Mexican birthday party.
Okay, so
why do we bring up Mexican birthday parties?
So what was it, yesterday?
Yep.
So we live in
the hood.
And what that means is that we are one out of the 4 white people living there. Yeah. So we live with a bunch of Mexicans and black people. We don't hate on them or anything. I think there's an interesting thing about living in the hood is that I think race is just kind of, you don't really see as somebody else as like another race. You just see them, oh, that fucker's also poor.
Yeah, just your poor neighbor.
Yeah, and so that's, I think everybody should live in the hood for like 2 minutes before they get stabbed or something.
I've been in the hood.
But that's besides the point. So yesterday,
The kid next door sells weed.
not surprised.
Yeah.
So our neighbors, next door neighbors, had a birthday party, and they're Mexican, of course.
Siesta.
And how do we know they're Mexican? We live in Texas, so they have to be Mexican.
Oh, and the music.
Yeah,
right
the
off the
music.
bat, as soon as they turn on the stereo.
So they had what, maybe like 100 or so people outside.
150 plus kids.
Yeah, and they had a bouncy castle, which is incredible.
The bouncy castle. I went out at like 9 in the morning, and the bouncy castle was already blown up. There was nobody out. It was like morning time.
That's a full day of bouncy castle.
Yeah.
How fucking baller is that shit?
Bala. And how cool is it that your neighbors don't call the police on you? I think that's dope. So this is the difference. So we're having a Mexican birthday, and that means in the hood that you invite everybody you know. You get a bouncy house. You put all your furniture outside, and if that's not enough, you have to go borrow some tables from somebody else, because they don't do like rental shit. They just buy tables and bring tables from friends. So there's a bunch of people out there, and it's loud and it's going on. As a matter of fact, someone tried to sleep through it. That didn't work out so well.
No, and I was trying to sleep.
Yeah, dog was trying to sleep. Couldn't get me sleep. And so now I wanted to compare and contrast. As a matter of fact, I just note in anybody who'd walk over there, I'm sure will get a plate of food, because it's happened right in front of my own house a couple of times, and I've been given plates of chicken and rice. So all good, all good. But now, what's the difference between that and a white kid's birthday party? What happens to a poor white kid when he does a birthday party? He goes to McDonald's with 10 of his friends.
Yeah.
His mom buys 10 Happy Meals with chicken nuggets.
I think they just buy like 2 or 3 of those like 20 things of chicken nuggets.
Right.
And
they share dipping sauces.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of hoopla.
And
there's not 150 people. White people, we don't like each other that much. We just don't.
Yeah.
People think that that we don't like certain races. We just don't like people. White people are just like aliens. They're like, don't get near us.
And especially
even
since
ones that look exactly like us.
We're both from Boston, and that's very noticeable up there, because people just don't give a shit about anybody else. Like, whenever I talk to people about like, hey, I'm from Boston, they're like, really? How is that? I'm like, oh, I love it, but the people are there kind of shitty.
Yeah,
and it's because
they all have their head down.
Yeah, and exactly. And if you ever walk on a sidewalk in the middle of Boston, you have to keep your fucking head down, because just in case you get in the eye vision with somebody else, they're giving you the fucking death stare. Like, why the fuck are you looking at me?
I want your money.
Well, not about that.
Got $1? I needed some cigarettes. Can I get $1?
Yeah, because there are some homeless people.
Oh, yeah, homeless people. So back to the white man's birthday party. Here's the poor white man's birthday party. I don't know that you had a poor white man's birthday party as a kid.
I got pretty lucky.
Yeah, you did. But I had a poor white man's birthday party. So no, we'd go to this bowling place. And it wasn't like regular bowling. It was New England bowling. There's not really bowling balls. They're like pool balls. Like, you can hand them. They're called candlepin. They're like, they're tiny sized. And if you wanted, you could overhand one of those bitches all the way to the end of the swing. Hey, but you probably get yelled at by the guy. And so 10 of your friends get up there, and you take turns throwing balls and hitting nothing. So they put those stupid little bounces in the lane to assure that you get a pin. Because
if anybody,
how fragile would I be if I didn't score?
So if anybody
I need a participation trophy
has not played bowling, you guys are fucking missing out.
Candlepin bowling.
Candlepin bowling.
Oh, yeah, you're not missing out, really.
Okay, not candlepin bowling, but like regular bowling is
big
fun.
Pin bowling. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, candlepin bowling can be fun too if you're 10 years old and having a birthday. And then you're in New England. What kind of cake do you get in New England if you're 10 years old? Friendlies, bro.
Yeah.
You can't live without the Friendlies.
The Friendlies birthday
or
cake.
a cargo cake, the little whale.
Yeah.
Yeah, Whaley will come out. And then so you and your 5 little friends or 10 little friends eat a little bit of that. There's no what are the bags of shit that you get to bring home? What do you call those? Like
goodie bags.
Goodie bags. There's no goodie bags.
Oh, what's going on, bro, man? You decided to join us again.
We got no goodie bags in the hood. In the hood, you get like, hey, thanks for coming. My mom bought you some chicken and ice cream cake in a bowling. I hope you brought me something worth at least that much.
Yeah, no shit.
Birthdays in the hood. You're part from your parents. Your present is your party.
Exactly.
You get to go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
And bowl.
And also
And that's it.
and also you gotta say like, hey, it's my birthday, so people could suck your dick for a day. Not like actually suck your dick, just
But
kiss
like,
your ass for a whole
yeah,
day.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
But
happens
if,
anyway.
If I had a choice, I'd go for the Mexican birthday party. Every
Absolutely.
day of the week.
It seems
Mexicans were
so
having fun. They had music on. There was beers. Everybody was smiling. At one point, I said to my friend, I was like, we should just go run and jump in that bouncy thing real quick and run back out and see what happens. And then I'm like, we'd be pinatas because they'd be kicking the shit out of us.
I was saying that like the little kids in the bouncy house, so they'd be like bouncing, and they just see this giant white man and some lanky white kid who's starting to jump in the bouncy house, and they just stop. They just stand and look at us with surprisement, saying, "Who the fuck are these people?"
Then they go all luchador on us.
I don't know about luchador.
They go luchador, Mexican fucking wrestlers, bro, luchadors. They go luchador on us. Oh, all little kids against us. It's a fight.
Well, okay, where's the fight coming in? Why?
I'm Rey Mysterio. I'm taking him down.
Why the fuck do you think 8-year-old Mexican kids want to fight 290-pound white?
Because they see that shit on wrestling all the time. The little dude fights the big dude. It's like David and Goliath, except it's big fat white guy against 40 little Mexican dudes. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna roll them like candlepin balls down the lane.
That has to be another story time about you versus a bunch of Mexicans, right? Remember that you told me that you fought a bunch of little Mexicans?
Oh no, that would be a different story. They weren't Mexicans.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll have that. That'll be a different segment.
Yep, absolutely.
I got great scar. Maybe we'll show you a picture of the scar.
It's
beautiful. It's like 18 inches long. I wish I was that long. Yeah. Instead, all I got is 18 inches of scar.
Good.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah, an androgynous scar. It goes right to my belly button. It's kind of like my navel, so I'm like having relatively scarful fun.
I don't think scars are that fun unless you're fucking in the Lion King.
No, scars are fun, bro, because when you meet somebody else, you're like, bro, what's up? Because I'm an idiot, and that's how I talk to people.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, they'll show you a scar
or a tattoo or a piercing.
I remember, like, talking about this is story time segment is just the Pop story time, since he has some really good stories.
Okay.
Mine is just going to be lightly sprinkled throughout the podcast if I have one that's relevant. So talking about scars, I think I already told you about this one, but I lived with my uncle for like 7 months or so, and in his house, and he had this thing where he dog sat a few dogs that he'd get paid for it online, la-di-da-di-da. It was a pretty cool service. So he was dog sitting a few dogs, and I biked to work every day because I was lazy and I didn't want to get a fucking license, but also I wasn't lazy since I was willing to torture myself for a half hour before and after work to bike. But
svelte legs, kids. He's got svelte legs.
But that's besides the point. So I was, it was in the morning, it wasn't in the morning. It was at like 3 or 4. So like, I was about to head out to work. I went in back where I kept my bike. I went to go grab for it, and I just kept on hearing, and I was like, "What the fuck is that shit?" So I went to grab for my bike. Then I just felt this fucking sharp pain on my ankle, just right above it. I'm like, "What the fuck is that shit?" And I just saw this little fucking Dachshund just attached to me.
It's Dachshund.
Dachshund. Okay, there you go. How about that?
Germans don't pronounce the CH.
Well, okay, I guess we don't. So the Dachshund was just fucking attached to my fucking ankle. I was like, what the fuck is that shit? So I shook it off, and it like flew off for a foot, and I'm like, you fucker. And I was like, and it started, doing that growl at me again. And I said, if you fucking try it again, I'll punt you across the yard, you fuck. And so I ran inside the house. I showed my uncle, and luckily, inside was this lady who apparently was also a nurse. So she got some like
disinfectant,
and she put it on there. So like fucking karma is great. If you get bit by a little dog, there's always
Cool
going to
scar,
be
bro.
yeah, cool. Okay. And this is why I wanted to talk about scar. So I waited like 20 minutes. It healed up. And I was like, that's a pretty fucking good scar. It got in pretty deep. I wish I kind of still had it since it was
It's
intriguing
not a
to
scar.
look at.
It's gone, bro.
Well,
Scars go on forever, bro.
sadly, it's scabbed up. So
your scar wasn't a scar, bro.
okay, I guess
You just
not.
talked about a scar for 5 minutes, bro. You're not
Jesus
a scar.
fucking Christ! Just
You
let
got
me finish
assaulted.
the story.
It was an assault, bro. You got assaulted. You got raped by a dog. You got had by a dog.
Unless I was a chick, I couldn't do anything about it.
Adoption.
So I biked to work, and I was talking to one of my coworkers. I was like, "Hey, I got bit by this little fucking dog." And she's like, "No shit." I was like, "You want to see? I guess not the scar." And she's like, "Sure." So I showed it to her. She's like, she just started laughing her ass off. I'm like,
That's not a dog.
what the fuck are you laughing about? Other than it looks like just a little fucking squirrel bit me. She's like, that looks like an Asian smiley face.
Excellent.
And it was because it slashed perfectly like that. It was like two little squinty eyes, and it like came together to his mouth. It was just fucking perfect to look at. I wish I had a picture to show you, but it was fucking incredible. And I just couldn't fucking stop laughing. And I was just like, how incredible is it that, you finally have a badass story about a dog fucking biting you. And not only is it just a little fucking runt, but also it makes your fucking, you get a little Asian smiley face on your ankle. How fucking gay is that? It took away from the greatness of it. But I think it also made it better in its own sense.
Maybe it should have been like a Pekingese then. If it made an Asian smiley face. Or what other kind? A Shar-Pei. A Shar-Pei is an Asian dog. I think.
I don't know Asian dogs.
I know Asian dogs. Egg rolls.
Jesus
meat on a
Christ.
stick.
Duck.
Duck fried rice. Dog fried rice. Cat fried rice. What?
You know those like fucking chicken tender things that they fucking sell at like specific Asian places, like white Asian places?
Oh, you mean non-Asian Asian places?
Exactly. Those little like fried chicken things?
Yeah.
Those are probably dog. I don't know what they're called.
Yummy.
Yeah.
I eat it all. I like it all. I don't
Yeah.
care if it's dog or not.
Also, I'm pretty sure like their beef on the sticks are pretty much
Beef
dog
on
too.
a stick.
Even though they're pretty
I think
good.
it might be human.
Yeah.
I think it might be human.
Like the chicken on the stick tastes like fucking chicken, but
the
the
like
beef.
biting my finger afterwards. And I keep thinking, like, why does it make me want to eat myself?
Yeah, good point.
Beef on a stick.
Beef on a stick. Want to talk about beefs on a stick? Ooh. Okay,
Not
I'm joking
necessarily
about
on
that,
a stick.
but-
that'd be wicked painful sticking a stick in there. Oh, okay.
Okay, you want to talk about it?
You can start it off, son.
Okay, so this topic we're going to need some time on, since I know that we have different point of views on it in general. But so a little bit of disclaimer. We are huge Star Wars fans. Huge. We've watched all the movies.
Do not. Try not.
That's not the quote, but sure. Thank you.
Captain Green.
Fuck, I'm blanking on the dude on
Captain Green.
Spaceballs.
Captain Green.
Remember the fake Yoda on Spaceballs?
Oh, yeah.
Yaddle?
Oh, I don't know. But
I
he's
think
a
the
little
dude's name
Jewish
was
dude.
a little Jewish dude.
It was a little
That
Jewish.
sold Spaceballs, the toilet paper, and all the fucking merchandise.
Oh, I wish I remembered his name. He was in some other movies too, oldie comedy movies.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out right now since I got the Google up.
Google.
Space.
Google. Well, he's
Balls
Googling. I would like to
Yoda.
take a moment to advertise for maps. Why use Google Maps? Just buy a map. It's not hard. You can just open it up and read it. You don't need to charge it. It's just a map. Just take it out, put it in your pocket, and when you're ready to get somewhere, you pull out a map. Does everything have to be about batteries these days? I feel like I'm getting cancer. All the batteries. Fucking batteries.
Okay, I don't know what that was all about, but sure.
Sure.
Okay. So okay, here it was. So they combined Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi into a character called Yogurt,
Yogurt.
which is one of the underrated movies that I've seen. I think it's really fucking funny.
The only times I've ever seen it, I've had a little something to enhance the performance, and I don't know that I could watch that again with an enhanced performance. Whereas Star Wars, I could watch any way, any day.
Anyway, any day.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good quote.
Word turd.
Anyway, any day.
Word turd.
Okay, so getting back on topic. So it's real. This thing is about two things. So my dad is an avid fan. Let's show it. Let's picture it like this. You are a bigger fan of episodes 1, 2, and 3, which is the prequel trilogies, over episodes 4, 5, and 6, which is the original trilogies, which I find that kind of blasphemous, but at the same time, I sound like a fucking Star Wars purist starting to shout like, "Oh, how could you like those? They got no storyline.
Them damn stormtroopers."
Yeah.
Well, I think the storylines are better. I don't know necessarily that the storylines are better. I am a huge fan of CGI. I like that.
And that's what it comes down to.
The imagination part of it. Like the actors don't. Not that you have to.
The actors were pretty ass.
Yeah, I don't know that you need to act a whole lot to be in Star Wars, man. It's a fictional outer spacey type thing, so you can just pretty much. It doesn't matter. There's all
okay. Counterpoint to that though. So the first, episodes 4 through 6, the original trilogy, they acted.
Empire Return.
They acted really well. They did a good job.
Right.
And I think that whole argument that you don't have to act very well for a Star Wars movie is based off of episodes 1 through 3, since those were so heavily CGI based that you just mostly saw CGI and you just saw some sort of story developing.
Yeah.
But I think part of the reason, from my understanding of how the original Star Wars episodes got so interesting, was the story building and just how like out of this world this story was. Just grasped so many people's attention, and the characters played really well. They acted their roles incredibly.
Before, like any good movie, what happens before there's a movie? There's books, bro. So those books were out.
Books were out before the movie.
Oh yeah. Do you know how many different Star Wars books there are? There's like maybe 100 regular Star Wars, and then there's spin-off series. I remember reading one of Boba Fett's when he was just a kid.
I'm talking about 4 through 6.
I'm talking about how many different books were written. 4 through 6 were books too. And there's another 100 books out there.
No, but you said that the books came out before episode 4. I've never heard of that before. Never. I honestly thought
who's read all the books.
I honestly thought that Star Wars was your Star Wars, and people are like, "Holy shit, that's a really interesting concept. Let's write books on it."
I don't think that the concept was all that original necessarily. Like there was plenty of astronaut movies. I mean, it was just this time it was about a little bit more of a fairy tale. I think that George Lucas developed technology along the way, which I would say to a purist would make him think, oh man, he was on the cutting edge of developing film at the time. And I'm not saying that he wasn't. And like he was the whole, like George Lucas, all them guys at the special effects thing, like God bless them for coming up with that stuff. But what they had then compared to what they had when they put out episodes 1, 2, and 3 for technology, I didn't even like my imagination before. It's like kind of like close your eyes and imagine something. Mine was just blank, and Star Wars kind of filled in its own thing, and the old versions didn't really fill it in too well. It was very basic. There were very few characters involved, and like you look in like the scenes in the Senate or scenes on Naboo of the different cities.
Okay, but the thing about this, That's one of the things that I fucking hated after rewatching. That's one of the things I fucking
You hate
hated.
the Senate?
Like, they spent there just talking about things that went on instead of showing what the fuck went on.
What do you think happens in the government?
I am not saying that doesn't happen.
Exactly how government happens.
But if a third of your movie is just going to be people talking about what the fuck went on, why even watch it? Why not? Like, that's just progressing the story without having any actual action scenes in it.
Progressing the story by having the votes in the Senate and making people have to go to different planets and save people. The Senate was in the falling apart of the Republic. The Senate is the biggest part of it. It's the fuel for the whole story as it lies.
And I think that's
you're caught up in characters.
Exactly. I want fucking because
because Anakin sucks.
Yeah. Anakin sucked ball. Jar Jar sucked ball.
I didn't dislike him.
Padme sucked ball after the
I thought she was great.
Well, episode 3, she was atrocious.
I thought she was great.
She turned from an extremely awesome warrior to shrieking whore with a baby.
Impregnate some chick and see what she acts like. She's not going to act like a dude. She's going to act lovey-dovey, and she's going to be waiting to push a football out, bro. She's just going to be like, oh, this is half your football. Want to touch the laces? Want to help me put air in it? Oh, I'm so worried about you. I love you so much. Please don't go. You don't have to go to work today. Just sit here with me, and we can memorize baby stuff.
And also, now they're complaining about characters. The few characters that I really liked, they just got rid of too early, and they weren't enough.
There were a couple of those.
I say 3. Biggest one for me, Darth Maul. When they killed him off, like after realizing, I had a tweet saying, when they killed off Darth Maul in the first episode, you should have known something was fishy. And
fishy about what?
What are they doing to the characters? Because
why are they letting them die? Well, I was just
a great character. He was a great character. He was the most fucking badass.
He got about 15 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, I think he was my second favorite Sith after fucking.
He's my favorite Sith.
Yeah, he was fucking badass, and he's only there for 15 minutes. Really, Lucas?
Yeah.
Go continue eating that fucking.
Should have maybe killed Dooku in the first one and kept Maul around a couple more.
And Dooku wasn't even in the first. It wasn't even in the first one. He was in episode 2 and 3.
You could have just killed him off in the first one and kept Maul there.
And I think the point is that I think they could have done a lot better story-wise.
Well, those books existed 1, 2, and 3 before 4, 5, and 6. You know when
they weren't books, bro. I just looked it up. This is what the Google says.
The Google. So
the Google says that.
Why would they call episode 4 A New Hope?
Listen, bro.
It came out first.
Star Wars, an American epic space opera franchise centered on a film series created by George Lucas. It depicts the adventures of various characters a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. The franchise began in 1977 with the release of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Okay, then this is on the Wikipedia page. If you go down to the novels, it says right here, the dude that started writing the novels was in 1978. A year later, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which was the first expanded universe work to be released.
Expanded universe.
Yes. In addition to filming in the time between the original 1977 film and the Empire Strikes Back, the additional content greatly expanded the Star Wars timeline before and after the film. Star Wars fiction flourished during the time of the original trilogy, which was 77 through 83, but slowed to a trickle afterwards. In the 1990s, Star Wars novels sparked new interest in the franchise. They weren't books first, bro. They were movies.
Why would you? This is, I guess, my argument to that is, why would you write
a script for episode 4
and it says 4 on the top? You remember the very opening dialogue? Yeah. It says 4. Those other stories had to exist first.
And I have no clue that. I think part of it is that it set up an interesting thing in the future that like, hey, we're giving you this story, but there's this whole thing that happened
You think that's
beforehand.
intriguing? That's great. Because I'd hate to have walked in, like I didn't really necessarily know that it was number 4. I was like, what, 7 or something? I don't know that I know that shit. But I walk in and I'm like, Star Wars. I didn't even know it was called The New Hope. I'm like, Star Wars. I gotta watch from Star Wars. Gotta get Star Wars things.
Well, you sound
Star
like a
Wars
retarded
figures.
kid.
Yeah. You're saying I'm not retarded. Hey, I'd like to note this. Can somebody mark the time? Because this kid called me not retarded. I think this is a first. No, I think we have some gushy moments where we might shed a tear, but usually we don't just be like, "You're not retarded, Dad. You just need a lot of help." Word, turd. Back to Star Wars.
So
if I was 7 years old and someone told me, just out of simple knowledge, I go walking in, they're like, "Hey, you want to watch number 4?" I'd be like, "Do you think I might start with number 1, please?"
And guess what? I agree that's fucking stupid. And I was trying to. And guess what? Do you know what I was trying to say? Is that maybe that's who he's going for? I have no clue. I think he was retarded to start that off anyway. But we have what we have now.
Yeah, and there was no Netflix. It wasn't like you could watch. As a matter of fact, Star Wars didn't come out on DVD till like 10 years later or something. Like they were trying to keep it from, so it'd be a special thing. Yeah. I remember
Trying to last and make the products last longer.
hype it up like Disney does. They won't release a copy of the new movie for a year, and then they'll put it out for 3 months, and then they'll put it back in the vault. And 15 years later, they're like, "We're remaking this by this movie." Bing, 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 bing,
Okay.
bing.
Also, if any of you guys are interested in reviews at all for movies, check out Mr. Plinkett's reviews for episodes 1 through 3. They are really good. He basically dismantles them, saying how shit the character development and the story building really was.
And I just go back to thinking, like, not everything has to be shiny, and all it has to be. I mean,
well,
all things have to be
CGI-wise,
shiny
apparently it is.
Yeah, I'm saying all things have to do is be like shiny and new to capture the masses. It's not like everything has to be well thought out to capture the masses.
Okay, but then
here's the best example. How many tickets did Captain America Civil War sell last year? A quadrillion, billion, fillion? How many tickets did Manchester by the Sea sell?
Not enough.
12, 13. I think just the Affleck family bought them. Like those are the only people that bought them.
Yeah, and the rest of the people got it online illegally.
Yeah,
including me.
Yeah. See all that, but so movies that are shiny and fast, like those ones don't get awards. But sometimes that's all it has to be is shiny and fast. It doesn't have to be intricate. Does it have to be intricate? Does everything have to be?
Well, and I think the complaint was that, which I think I side on a little bit more, is that, hey, you guys built a really good world. You introduced us to really good stories. Then you just came out with some horse shit that doesn't have to do with that has to do with it story-wise, but they didn't do a good job on one of the biggest things that we loved about it. And it just seems like you guys are selling us short just to wow us with some graphics.
They wowed me, man. Wow.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to steer it into the direction I was hopefully we're gonna get into is that I think they could have done a better job with them, story wise, and
you're
building.
Looking at me like I'm gonna say, yeah, they could have done. No, they did exactly what they need to. But moving on to the topic.
So
sometimes you agree to disagree, or you say under your breath, "Fuck that guy."
And guess what? I might get a dude who knows a little bit more about Star Wars and story-wise to come argue.
Oh yeah, Harrison Ford's going to be here next week.
Jesus Christ.
And then Carrie Fisher is going to be on after him.
Yeah. Wow. She's going to be showing up like at the end of episode 6, like all those fucking ghosts, like Yoda.
No, the Long Island Medium is going to come and channel it for us as our special guest.
Christ.
We said we had a special guest next week. We're going to channel Princess Leia. We're going to ask her, did you really want some when you were wearing that bikini? Or was that just because? Like, because she looked like, I need to get me some man. Right? At the beginning of Return of the Jedi, in
I know what
Jabba's
you're
house.
talking about.
She's hot. Well, you can't.
Yeah,
be like
she's attractive.
hot. Yeah, you do. I think the reason it's hard for you to think that
It's because I didn't
you weren't
grow
even
up on that
alive
shit.
when that happened.
Yeah.
So you look back and like, oh, she was hot once, and you see old. Well, now you don't see shit. She's in a box.
Wow.
You would see an old lady
6 feet under the ground.
6 feet. I think they had to bury her 8. You know why? Because the thieves, they dig to 6 feet, and if there's nothing there, they'll stop.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they wanted to get the force, so they
Okay,
had to
so
dig a real
so
deep.
what I was trying to say before we started getting onto this side conversation again about Star Wars, which is the whole point of this podcast, is that we just want to be ranting at some points, and I'm going to be trying to bring it back to some topics that I want us to talk about. So I think what you disagree with is I think they could have done a better job story-wise, but let's just agree to disagree. And the reason I complain about that is they should have kept a few of their characters, including Darth Maul. Do you agree that they should have had Darth Maul a little bit longer?
Yep.
Great fucking dude. He was the best character.
Better
I think.
some than none.
But so I had this conversation with a dude on the Twitter about, imagine this, that somehow they're able to keep Darth Maul just one more episode until like the end boss fight on episode 2. And this would be it. You would get episode 2, Obi-Wan Kenobi, date rape vibe Anakin Skywalker, because if you guys don't remember, he totally had that fucking vibe when he went to go hide out with Padme Amidala.
He was just doing moves, bro. He had moves on.
But they were so awkward moves. He was so awkward moves. He's like, I have a lot of social anxiety and I think you're attractive. That's some moves, bro. I can't fucking handle it. You're just like,
I remember she says to him on the freighter or somewhere, maybe they had already arrived. I thought you're not allowed to love, but love's essentially what the Force is about. And he sells her that the Force is all about love when it's real.
Yeah, I think what he meant is
lust.
Yeah, he was thinking about
wang dang noodle.
He was thinking about forcing it into her. And that's why I said date rape, because that whole time
she volunteered. It wasn't like she said no. They have kids.
Okay, but
there's 2 babies.
He had that whole vibe during that whole entire that part.
Annie, don't go.
Okay.
Please don't go kill the younglings.
So let's get back to this hypothetical versus. So it'd be Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, both from episode 2, versus Darth Maul and General Grievous.
Yeah, but then I think you could, if we're going in episode 2, you can throw in Dooku and Yoda too, because they have that thing in the cave. Why not have 3-on-3?
I want it to be an intimate moment between Obi-Wan and Anakin. That Obi-Wan starts to realize like Anakin's going all out, really trying hard to fucking kill Maul or some shit like that. But Obi-Wan kind of realizes like, holy shit, this dude is kind of psycho. And I think that could lead up to like that dude end up becoming Darth Vader. Right?
Yeah, I'm not buying that story.
What? That they have a great battle between 2 other dudes and Anakin kills, like, instead of the beginning of episode
but you're
3,
like saying like Ben killed somebody too, but Anakin killed somebody and it meant something so much more. Like,
well, okay.
Them being in a fight like that, I don't think it
well, think about this. So, you mean Obi-Wan killing somebody off of episode 1, right?
Let me add one question. So in this fight, how many times does Anakin stab Darth Maul? Now, if you get the right number, I'm buying it.
If anybody has seen Carl and have seen those videos, you'll understand this reference. But 31 times in the chest.
No, I was thinking 7. Because if
that
you really
was
wanted
just
to kill
joke,
somebody and you were messed up, you'd stab them 7 times.
Yeah, well, this is so this is what I was talking about, like having a different.
Walking Dead?
No. It was so there's this little YouTube series that's about 2 llamas, and one of them is a psychopath serial killer, and he keeps on saying, "I did this," and the other dude's like, "Carl, why did you stab that man 31 times in the chest and eat his hands?"
Carl, you don't have hands, you have hoofs.
Yeah, no, it was basically that, and It was pretty fucking funny if you watch them. If anybody has, which a lot of people have. I'm not surprised my dad doesn't know it since he's not that.
I could give a shit. Llamas have puffs. That's why.
Okay, but
Because I get down like I get down.
so I think you're talking about Obi-Wan killing a dude in episode 1, killing Maul, right?
No. I wasn't talking about that at all.
But you
I was
said
talking
Obi-Wan
about
killing a
you
dude.
said
versus,
Anakin gets crazy. I was thinking of in episode 2. Doesn't Anakin take off to go save his mama and go crazy on those beasties?
Yeah, he had he had 3 at least
Right,
crazy
so
moments
if
in
instead
episodes 2 and 3.
Right. So I'm saying if the jump off is we're trying to make him into Darth Vader and it happens during this fight, is he gonna stab somebody once and be like, no, he's gonna be like, I'm killing him, I'm killing him. I'm dark side, baby. I'm dark side now.
Yeah, and I think so. Remember at the beginning of episode 3 when he sliced off Dooku's head?
Ooh, yeah.
It would be kind of like that where General Grievous pussies out because he does that a bunch in episode 3. He runs a bunch, but General Grievous runs and Obi-Wan and Anakin there are just left alone with Darth Maul. Anakin sliced off of both of his arms or some shit like that.
Was knocked out.
Yeah.
The Emperor talked him into it. He's like, you cannot leave him.
Okay, but no, we're not talking about that. I'm talking about this hypothetical scene versus Darth Maul. Darth Maul, both of his arms
were saying how Dooku died.
Yeah. I'm just saying, getting back to the hypothetical scene.
So
Darth Maul, both of his arms are partially or fully lightsabered off, and he's just sitting there on his knees give me mercy. And Anakin just has that fucking evil eyes in his look, like people in Boston if you walk on the sidewalk. And he uses his lightsaber and also the one that he steals from Darth Maul, because that was pretty good. I think that was a good part off of episode 3, that he stole Dooku's and he fucking sliced him off with both. So he takes his and he also takes Darth Maul's double-sided. He slices them off, and then Obi-Wan is like, Anakin, what did you do? La-di-da-di-da-di force. We're supposed to protect people. And then Anakin just turns around with just fucking a little bit of red in his eyes. He's like he just came off of rape. I was about to say coming off of raping Padme.
Oh, that doesn't happen. There was no rape, man. They were even married first. Damn, man.
Illegally.
Why was it illegal? Just because you didn't tell anybody doesn't make it illegal.
Well, it was illegal.
Eloping.
It was illegal because it was illegal for
a Jedi.
Exactly.
So what?
So
Get
what?
Over
it.
Girls went over the Force all day.
Yeah.
Girls went over the Force. So I know what I'd do after I chopped off both of his hands and heads there. I'd be like, haters gonna hate, lovers gonna love. All I wanna do is piss on you.
That's not even the fucking
Yes,
lyrics.
we do.
It's haters gonna hate, lovers gonna love. I don't even care about none of the above. I want to piss on you. Yes, I do. I want to piss on you.
Yeah, that's R. Kelly. That's R. Kelly. Dave Chappelle's version.
Yeah, that's fucking
Dave
great.
Chappelle, R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Sing that on the YouTube.
Yeah.
R. Kelly Chappelle skit.
It's not not a skit. It's the music video that he did.
Yeah, it's a skit. The video's a skit.
Yeah, I'm just saying more specific wise.
Yeah, see.
Because I wanted to. So my point about that whole fight is that Darth Maul was a great character, and I think Dooku was good. I think they kind of misplayed him a bit, but that just goes into semantics. But I think Darth Maul could have been there way longer and could have cut into some Dooku time, and Dooku could have been a looming dude in the background in episode 2, and came into episode 3 a bit more.
What if Darth Maul was the Emperor?
Oh, but here's the problem. Here's a train of thought. So, episode 1, remember where they had right in the beginning, they had those fake Asian dudes that were part of the Federation that were like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
On the blockade.
On the blockade, they had a video with Darth Maul, and right in the background
was the Emperor.
Was the Emperor grabbing his shoulder and saying, "I got a smoker's voice. Shame.
I'm sending you my soldier.
Yeah.
Darth.
So I don't think it would work that wise, but I think what could work is
switch spots, make the Emperor the creepy alien get killed off in the first episode.
Well, no. How about
Creepy
this?
alien.
That
you look like a freak.
That person behind him was actually Dooku, and Dooku. Listen, okay. Before you start saying just hear me out for a second. And
7.
one viewer that's watching this. So here it is. So instead, Dooku's the one that sends him. At some point in episode 2, we actually see Dooku for the first time. He's introduced as Dooku, and he starts talking to the Chancellor, which is actually the Emperor, Chancellor Palpatine, which is actually Emperor Palpatine, and he says, "La-di-da-di-da, things are in place," and talking about starting to slowly nudge Anakin onto the dark side. How about that?
Well, I don't know, because the Emperor originally kills Dooku, and that's kind of the first push from the Emperor. So it's weird to think that Dooku's the Emperor and then was pushing him.
Because
I think the little green alien, the old Emperor, I think that he should have looked different at least, instead of a freaky alien. Like he looked like he looked like a regular person, and then after him and Yoda do battle, him and
Mace Windu
do battle.
Yeah, he shocks him then.
Yeah, and he looks all creepy faced, and then he goes in front of the Senate.
That was a pretty fucking.
And they're like, "That's not a different guy. Are you saying that guy and that guy are the same guy? Those are 2 different guys."
And I think they're really trying hard to make it similar. I think they should have just cut the whole "I'm a regular looking dude" or like maybe they could have. I think they could have worked that way better.
They could have given him a mask or some makeup, bro, instead of just being a white guy. What kind of power is there in just being a white guy? The white guy head of the Senate. Gee, that's not just an impression that we get every day in the world. Like every single freaking jerk that's in our own. Like how many emperors are there? Emperor Trump. I'm gonna blockade the resistance. I mean Mexicans.
The blockade, aka the wall.
The wall.
Oh my god, that's a good fucking.
You mean the Death Star? The wall. It's the Death Star. It's the great.
Okay. Then how about this? His electro powers is actually just Mike Pence, since he believes in electrocuting the gay out of people.
Yeah. Or he uses the powers to make the fence electric so that they can't climb over. They get electrocuted, and then they put Mexican on a stick, like beef on a stick.
I think we could. I think I could have a conversation with probably somebody else, since you don't seem that interested in reworking since you seem very content with episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah,
and I think they ruined it for a lot of fans, and I think that you're one of the small majority that was fine with it.
I'm saying, first of all, to start, the fans you're talking about are fans your age. And so you have to.
Okay.
Or are you talking about
your fucking horses?
Whoa, you just got offended.
Hold your fucking
shit.
Well, pump the fucking brakes. How about that? Pump the brakes. So the reason I first started paying attention to Star Wars storyline and started hearing like episodes 1 through 3 wasn't so good, because I originally thought like, whoa, these are really good graphics wise, because those were the episodes.
Little boy.
Yeah, and I think part of that was the mindset that I had with you, or like, this is really cool looking. And hey, and I'm not saying that you pussified me.
That's a dummy.
But so Ari mentioned earlier about this dude, Dr. Plinkett, or no, Mr. Plinkett. But all of the people that I started hearing complain about them are all in their 40s. And then everybody except like 3 people on the internet. Well, not 3. I mean, like 3 large people on YouTube complain about episodes 1 through 3.
3 large people. Were they like 400 pounds or what?
Yeah, they're about your size.
Not 400.
Oh, okay.
400.
So.
Please.
But they're all like the main criticizers were people who grew up watching episode 4 through 6.
Maybe they just didn't appreciate the graphics. I know lots of people hate Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah,
I
Jar
think
Jar
he's
was
hilarious, bro. Like he's
Really?
just comic relief. Like
He's
I
a
don't even
fucking
act like he's a
terrible
real
character.
thing. Burgity, 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 bro. I love the way he talks.
I would have been fine with him if they tried to make him. I think I told you about the whole theory that that Jar Jar is actually the fucking the Emperor instead. That's a pretty fucking interesting theory, but that's besides the point. I didn't need, like, I don't know. What was the comic relief in episodes 1 through 3? C-3PO and R2-D2.
1 through 3, you mean 4 through 6?
I mean 4 through 6. Sorry about that.
So here's the how I relate to Jar Jar. It's like kind of how I relate to the little bears in Return.
Guess what? People also hate them too.
Really, I loved them when I was a kid. When I watched
but when they were a kid, but when they watched it again, they're like, so the online "we're better than you" thinking argument that you're hearing against is that the first sign that George Lucas was going down this path of like, you might need they're like, you have some really good writers around you. Like, you shouldn't one-man this. And so that was apparently the problem, that episodes 1 through 3, George Lucas just put in his dominance and saying that I created all this stuff, like I know what to do. And that he just completely skipped on some really good writers. But the episode 6 was starting to show that they put in the Ewoks, and it was like, oh, okay, like what's the point of this? And it was just like some cutesy shit that's like deriving from the main like dark insidious shit that they're coming up with.
I think though that it's supposed to be a play on good against bad, and if it's a fight against good against bad, isn't a teddy bear the best warrior? Like, if from the good side.
Holy shit!
Have you ever seen the Imagination?
Right now.
No. Have you ever seen the Imagination Land of South Park? The 3 episodes.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Right. So I mean, this is supposed to be in a different world
South
on another
Park
planet.
Is a comedy show,
but it wasn't even supposed to be a comedy. The thing is good against bad, right? So if you're on a different planet, can't there be a teddy bear planet? Especially back when they filmed that, there was no CGI. What were they supposed to use to be the things on the other planet?
If we have any more than just one viewer watching this, holy shit, I'm gonna expect to hearing some shit from you guys saying like, holy shit, your dad's kind of crazy.
I'll tell him to shut up. He's such a sour sport. He doesn't like teddy bears. He's a jerk. He's a jerk. His mom used to kick him in his face when he was a little kid. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, let's move on.
Wow.
Star Wars stupidness.
Okay, so I guess he had enough of that conversation since I was acting all elitist against him.
Exactly. He does it all the time.
Yeah.
Smart guy. He's so fucking smart. You should ask him about it. He'll tell you right away.
I'm
smart.
I'm just saying.
You're allowed to have your opinion. I love you infinitely.
I think top 2 favorite movies have great storylines, even though they're action movies. First is The Dark Knight, which great fucking storyline, great. And 2 is Mad Max, who's straight to the point, a lot of action.
7 words.
About
8.
But they didn't.
Yeah,
they didn't try to like veer off to something that they weren't.
But what appeals to the masses?
But okay,
what appeals to the masses? When you write a movie, what do?
I think this comes down to appealing to the masses and appealing to the main fan base is what it gets down to.
Okay, but
are they trying to sell? Are they trying to sell a movie, or are they trying to make a good movie? How about that?
If they spend $700 million, or let's say $100 million to make a movie, do they want to be like, oh, this is a great piece of art, man? No, that's not why they spent all the money, bro. They gotta sell that shit. They gotta sell it.
Why the okay?
It's a product. It's a commodity.
Do you know when it became a product? Episode 6. Like when it really seriously became a product. Episode 4.
Before
how
that,
much they all of their props that they made all of their props. CGI, they used a very minimal amount.
because
they didn't have a lot. I agree with that, but they
could
worked
barely make lightsabers then.
they worked really fucking hard to make a really good storyline and set up this world. And I think they did a really good job on it. There was, and I'm saying that it started off as an indie type of film, apparently.
No.
And it got super popular.
They spent so much before that
Episode 4, they spent
tons of money, right? Tons of money. They were inventing processes as they go. Compared, I'm saying this: what are movies? They don't get made for it to form a little niche. They get made to make money. They're a product like any other thing there is. And so when you make one, if you're not trying to get the money back, and you're saying it wasn't about money, before that thing ever hit a theater, millions and millions and millions and millions and millions were spent. They couldn't just walk up and be like, I hope you all like
so
this.
Here's episode 4. The budget was $13 million.
Ask what $13 million means in 1976.
In the box office, they got $775.4 million back.
$775.4 million. Why would you change anything?
I'm not saying they. Are you even? Okay.
You're arguing for changes in the stories. Why?
I said episode 1 through 3.
And you're saying they didn't make their money? That's.
But my point is that they would have made money anyways because it's fucking Star Wars. It's a name brand, right? If it's really that big, and guess what? The general consensus is that episodes 1 through 3 were shit movies, and guess what? People still went to see them and they loved them. Well, okay, no,
not
they didn't love
according to you. Not according to you. Nobody liked him. Only me. Just because other people think something, it doesn't matter what people think about the movie. They need to sell it. It's a product. Whether you think it's better or not, it's not. That's our opinions on it. The fact is, somebody had a checkbook, and far before that thing ever fucking hit the movie theater, it cost $13 million.
Okay, let me tell you the ratings by the reviewers.
I don't care about that. That's what I'm saying. Each viewer pays $7.50, or maybe $15 to go to the movies.
Yeah, because that's was super fucking expensive.
That now it is, but that's not the only thing important. Is that people go. The opinions they form afterwards is on them. A writer writes something, they put it out. If they sell $1 billion worth of stuff,
so you're really saying that all of those people think that, oh, I have to sell this before I'm going to make this a good story?
Or that's why they get paid. That's their job. It's a profession.
Their job
it's a profession.
Like writers, their job is to write a fucking story.
Their job is to get paid. It's a job.
Their job, what do they get paid for? That's what their job is.
Writing successes. How do you get your next job writing? Off the jobs you've had before.
So you're really saying that. So this is how I see it. That I say film is an art form. Could you concur with me on that? Yes or no answer.
It's not a yes or no question. It's not a yes or no question.
I phrased it as a yes or no question. Is film an art form? Yes or no? We can get into this at some other point, but contextually, this wise, is a film an art form? Can we agree on that?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Because it has to be a product first. It can't be art until after it's a product. Then it can be art. It has to make its own money if it wants to generate another one of them, or to pay all the people off before. So before anybody has any artsy fartsy thoughts about it, or during the process even, if it doesn't make any money, and no one will ever see that piece of art again, ever. And that's why there's so many grade B movies that you see on Sci-Fi that suck because they were horrible and no one would spend money for them. You just like, even now you're getting all steamy because you just still want to be like, everybody agrees those suck. You're trying to convince me that I have to have your idea.
I'm not trying to.
Oh, you are.
I'm not trying to convince you, since I already know that you already have your opinion. There's no way changing it.
But you'll say seven times in a row.
This is what I'm trying to do. For our viewers, I am trying to give an argument saying that they could have improved 1 through 3, and you're saying that they could.
You said it 10 times.
And you've said the opposite 10 times.
No.
So every single time that I've said it, you haven't tried to rebuttal.
No, I just sat here. I said, let's move on 10 minutes ago. As a matter of fact, isn't that great? This is great. Arguments are so good. We do this well. We do it well. You can see him getting a little angry right now. I wish I was a little bit bigger so I could smack that guy.
I just think that it's
that episodes 1, 2, and 3 sucked. Okay, next. 1, 2, and 3 sucked. 1, 2, 3 sucked. 4, 5, 6 roll. Art, man. I'm talking about art. What's art?
He's fucking arguing like a fucking chick right now. He's like, okay, you're acting.
Is this art? Is this art? Pictures of my do in the morning. Is that art? To you,
Jesus,
it's disgusting. To me, it's beautiful.
And that's the point. That is the point. That's what I'm trying to say. That the people that created it see it as an art form.
So if I see it as art and I leave it in there all day to look at it, you happy about that?
It is their creation.
It's my creation. If I leave it in there all day and you have to look at it, are you happy about that? No, it's not art to you. It's shit. Just like this is why the old man is just so feisty. Moving on. You know what we both will still do? Watch all 6 episodes again.
Wow. We can continue this conversation at another time. We really couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, it's almost my bedtime. Jesus, Star Wars is on late tonight.
Okay, so
Okay, but if Star Wars on earlier.
So I think people have waited long enough for this segment that we've fucking dick teased all fucking episode now. Is that we're starting Pop's old timey stories, which is him telling me, but mainly you guys, some stories that he's had in the past. And I'm gonna give you a little background info.
Oh, how we're getting to today's story?
Our today's story time. So on Twitter, I saw a tweet from this young, attractive lady complaining about la-di-da-di-da, how could men in society, complaining about shaving and mainly shaving armpits. And she's very attractive, but the whole unshaved armpits just kind of throws you off a lot. And it's like,
what you're supposed to do? Get blind as like a horse. You just don't see the hair on the abs, and you just bang, 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 bang.
Yeah. Or you could put bed sheets over her.
Yeah.
You can either fucking the ghost or the KKK.
Or you can plant the chia pet in there and watch it turn green. Chia underarms.
So the point was that I saw that and I showed this to him. I'm like,
yeah, he's like, what do you think about this? And so we came up with this segment about old timey stories, and I was gonna tell him the story right then, and he's like, stop, don't tell us the story. Don't tell me the story.
Wait for the podcast, and we're gonna be having story times on the podcast, which I'm pretty fucking excited for, since he tells me a bunch of his stories all the time.
I've got war stories, like war, like not with guns though.
They're
like
fucking
war, like life.
They're hilarious and very intriguing, and I hope that people also find it intriguing as much as I do. So
hello kids, welcome to Dad's old timey stories in the lounge. So when I'm thinking about hair under arms, it makes me think back to about 1990 to 97. I started going to Dead shows and the rebirth of it.
Dead, he means
Dead means like Grateful Dead, like tie dyes, and really.
If any of you guys don't know what the fuck he's talking about, Grateful Dead is a band.
They know who that is.
I don't know.
Old-timey stories don't get interrupted by a kid. They're old-timey.
Okay, I'm just saying that I don't know who my audience is, and I don't know if they'll know the Grateful Dead. I'm just trying to give a little bit of context.
The Grateful Dead's a rock and roll
shut up
band. Now. They played rock, and then they rolled. So Grateful Dead, the first thing I have to say is I've been to like 40 or 30 or 40 shows, lots of shows. So the thing that originally brought me to see the Grateful Dead is I met this little guy. We called him the Acid King. He lived in his parents' basement, Scotty. And Scotty's parents, as long as you were in the basement, you could do whatever you want. And that dude always kept books and books and books of acid in his freezer. So it was always a good time down in Scotty's basement. And Scotty's the one that brought me to my first show. First show, I'd never been to see it. Never Been to See the Dead. I only know one song, I Will Get By. And of course, they open with I Will Get By, and it's history. But so maybe, I don't know, the next show after, we show up 5 or 6 hours early for shows. It's like tailgating. And I started to notice, like, the women are ultra hairy. Like, I see underarms like trees. It's not even a bush. It's like a tree. There's just like things growing. So we just sit on the curb, like after you, I don't know, take 20 or 30 hits and you're staring around and you're like, wow, I don't see any pink elephants, but I see some hairy chimps, and they're all chicks. These hairy chimps, 9 out of 10 of them, they would have hair under their arms. And I mean, like, not just stubble. It wasn't stubble. It was bushy. It was like bushy. Like, it was like a swamp under their arms. And like, we'd sit down on the curb or sit in our chairs, and we'd see these beautiful hippie girls walk by looking all natural and be like, wow, she's hot. And then we'd be like, whenever even cute, it didn't have to be hot. Hot's relative. So we'd be like,
Attractive.
That's a better word, because hot makes it sound like
I'm gonna fuck them.
Yeah.
But you were trying to do that, though.
No, I wasn't at all. I wasn't trying.
Okay, then.
I went there with a girl.
Hey.
But so we'd say to them, we'd sit there and they'd walk by, and we'd be like, when one was cute, we'd be like, hey, excuse me, can you put your arms up? And we'd like keep count of how many chicks had hair under their arms. That'd be like 9 out of 10. We'd sit there for hours and do it, just sitting there smoking the green, drinking some drinks, talking about whatever.
Hairy armpits.
Yeah, nothing different really than we've talked about on this little podcast. It was no different, except it was like an elevated level of sensory. And so every time I saw them hairy armpits, I'd just start laughing and be like, hairy girl. Yeah, I didn't make any fans, but I swear probably 4 different shows we counted underarms for, I don't know, an hour at a time, say. So I've probably seen 500 hippie chicks with hairy arms. I've dated 2 hippie girls. You should see between their legs. I don't think there's like braids in there and flowers. They have like planted dandelions in there. It's a forest. If you put your face in there, you're going to need like a scuba mask to get out of how wet it's going to be in the rainforest. Holy crap. Oh, but the old timey stories. If you ever see a chick and she looks like, I don't know, 45 to 75, she looks kind of like happy. She's wearing like a tie-dye or one of them light fluffy hippie dresses that dudes even wore back in the
She got a giant bush.
Yeah, no, you just say to her, hey, ever been to a show? I like bush. And she'll show you hers. Now that's a joke, the blast ride. You can't just get a bush like that. It's not like you're gonna be like, I'm gonna grab your pussy. That doesn't happen. That's our second
mentioning of Donald Trump this podcast.
Oh, I love him. He's my favorite president ever.
Oh, he's a trip.
He's the best president ever, because TV is about reality. Right now, it's reality TV. We got the king of reality, fucking being the president. Like, that's the best TV available, bro. The king of reality TV tries it in real life. So that's the end of Old Timey Story for today.
Fucking story time is outstanding.
Yeah.
I hope the only one person listening enjoyed that, if they're actually listening. We're hopefully going to be adding that segment every once in a while to our stream. And at some point, if something's interesting enough, we're going to be creating another segment. And our first official segment is going to be old-timey dads or pops' old-timey stories.
Yeah.
And then, our original one is the end of the podcast.
All right, and that's now.
And do you know what that means?
What does Sig Heil mean?
What does Sig Heil mean?
All hail.
All hail.
Props. You know what I mean?
Props out.
Shout.
Shout
Give me a
out.
shout. Shout me out.
So,
give me some props. Sig Heil.
So, we have done this podcast so far for an hour and 20 minutes. That's 20 minutes longer than we did our pilot episode.
Don't be a minute man.
And we're getting places. We're starting to get in the flow of things. And
nobody likes a minute man.
I have no clue what the fuck Oh, okay, I get it now. So
So it's your turn. Sig Heil who?
I'm leading up.
Oh,
into
sorry,
that,
bro.
I'm leading up into that. So we had a great podcast so far, right?
Think. Yeah, I had to teach him about Star Wars.
We had a great
and
conversation about
basketball. Had to tell him
fucking Star
hairy
Wars,
bitches.
bunch of stuff.
I
We
wanted
set
to
up
pee on
a.
him. I think he's
Gosh.
gonna let me pee on him. I think that's what we got out of it.
I can't tell if that's supposed to be a Donald Trump or Dave Chappelle joke.
Oh no, that's Dad talking to son. I want to piss on you.
Okay, so let's get to our Sig Heils. So I have 2 Sig Heils for the day.
So you do one.
You do yours, and I'll do.
one. Done.
So my first one is I didn't tell you specifically what it was, but it's a bit of member berries.
Member berries.
So
what's member berry?
it's member berries.
Member berries.
Member berries is
Google member berries. No, you don't need to Google it. They Google it.
you guys have to Google member berries right now. We'll give you a minute.
Yeah, like I remember when Barry was in the White House. Things were so nice. There was extra food in the kitchen because my EBT card had some extra money on it, like $16 more than it does now. Because in the hood, we use EBT cards. I had $16 more. I was Barry.
Okay, I
What do you
think that's
miss?
enough time for people looking up some member berries.
That's a member berry.
So that is a member berry. So want to hear the member berry of the podcast?
Yeah.
So March 4th, 2000.
March 4th, 2000.
17 years ago in 15 days.
17 years ago.
Do you know what happened on that day?
Michael Jordan returned to basketball.
PlayStation 2 was released.
PlayStation 2.
17-year anniversary of the PlayStation 2. Blast from the fucking past.
When did 3 come out? How long was PlayStation 2 was there a long time before 3.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
at
there was
least.
a giant they didn't upgrade for a long time.
Yeah, and like 3 to 4 was a little bit quicker than 2 to 3.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and 4 to 4A and 4B and 4C.
And the reason I mention that is I remember as a kid, I think the first actual system that I played on was with this gentleman right next to me on his PlayStation 2.
Yes.
Few of the games that I remember deeply, some of the Star Wars video games we played on there.
Yeah. Lego.
Lego Star
We
Wars,
played Lego anything.
Lego anything. All of those games are great as a kid, but they're still good now.
Oh, they were great as a dad too. I love the stories.
Yeah, and they're
especially episode 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars on that Lego game. That was the best
Yeah,
game
sure.
ever.
But another one that I remember fondly, well, I think you remember a little bit more fondly with me since I wasn't very good at it, but I just remember having some member berries about it is NBA Street Volume 2.
Oh yeah, you didn't like that I crushed you every time.
Yeah, but it was, I think, like whenever I hear that, I'm like, holy shit, I remember being a kid playing that with my dad.
And they had NFL Street too.
Yeah, they
I
had,
had NFL Street. You played? I don't think you played NFL.
no, I wasn't,
Never
like,
entertained. By
I would,
football.
I only got into basketball like 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, playing, but you'd been to. You were
I've
8.
been to a few games,
Dude, I'm
but like,
saying
I
you were
mean
9
like,
months old when you
I
sat
mean
down.
like NBA super fan.
Okay, NBA super fan. At 9 months old, this gentleman sat in the second row at his first Celtics game on my lap because you only had to buy 1 ticket. So I bought a really dope ticket.
Shout
And the
out
guy-
to
The guy next to him
Kenny
bought hot
Anderson.
dogs. He bought a hot dog and asked him for no bun and broke it into little pieces to feed you.
and shout out to Antoine Walker.
So you got a dog, bro. Someone dogged you. You're not.
And shout out to, what was it, the 2000,
Kenny
2001.
Kenny Anderson. Love you,
What
Kenny.
was it, 2001 they got into the
Walter.
Eastern Conference Finals?
Bing, bang, boom. Walter hits a 3.
Which year is the Eastern Conference Finals?
202.
202.
I love you, Tommy Heinsohn. I miss you.
So out of 1 out of 10 member berry scales, how good was that?
That was 1 out of 10. I'd give it I don't have anything to base it against, so I'm going to give it an 8 for now. And it might have to be revised in the future when we try and member berry something else.
Because
Because I want to leave room for a great, like, oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
God, I just blew a load.
I'm
Like,
just saying that's a good starting
Oh,
off
that's a
point
great
for
start.
a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
Sig Heil.
that's
for
like
member
your,
berries.
imagine your first date's a solid 8. I mean, like, it can only go down, really, almost.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, there's like, yeah, it can
And
only go down. That just means.
And I remember, so that was the first video games thing that I played on. I think I got a Game Boy for a little bit. Then you bought me Nintendo DS, and I played the Pokemon games on it. You bought me that, which I was super into. Then you got me the Wii.
Yeah, you love the Wii.
And I started off as a little Nintendo fanboy.
Yeah.
But my first video game experiences were a PlayStation 2 with you. And also remember the GameCube at the Ayala's
Mikey's?
house. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that too.
GameCube.
And you played what, Star Wars Battlefront 2 with Mikey on that?
I don't remember.
Okay, but that's besides the
That was
point.
a long time ago.
That is our first Sig Heil. Let's go with yours, bro.
Oh, so my Sig Heil is Sig Heil muscle bound women. I want to fight you. So I go to the gym just recently. I'm not like a gym person. I'm like a fat old man trying to lose weight. And I lost like 40, like 35, 30, actually 36 and a half. I weighed me today. But so 3 days ago, I was sitting at the gym and I ride this bike and I'm riding this bike and there's this woman. And like, if you looked at her from the back, you wouldn't have known necessarily that it was a woman. It was a muscle-bound woman. And I saw how small. I was like, that's got to be a woman. And when she turned around, I was like, wow, what a beautiful muscle-bound woman. I wish she'd fight me. Like, all hail women that could beat my ass. Like, they say that men forever have been the meanies in the assholes in the relationship, that they beat women. Imagine walking into your door every day of the rest of your life, and you know at any moment in time, your girlfriend will beat your ass. Like, beat you bloody, call 911, and you're going to say, I'm sorry for letting you beat me up later. Because she's so hot. She's built. She's hot. She beat you up. You thank her for it. She wheels you in a wheelchair home, beats you up again, calls 911 again, and you say, honey, can I please come home again? All hail muscle-bound woman.
That's fucking
If
incredible.
you want to fight me, I will fight. Rousey, where you at?
I think that's an incredible thing to think about because.
Where you at?
Did she retire? Is that what I heard, that she
Not a
retired?
retirement. I got you.
So that's an interesting thought, that
Holly home.
that a difference between men and women, that women are like, don't fucking beat me, since it's some sort of dominance thing, and you're like, beat me, please.
Yeah, the thing about when you're like my size, like I'm a large man, like large. Well,
You can't be afraid of much. Like,
right. Well, it's not necessarily what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of. It's the other people's impressions of size are different.
yes.
It's not necessarily what I say. It's the audience I say it to. They don't know. Sometimes they can't even hear what I say.
Yeah.
Because they see that I'm 6'2".
Yeah, and they don't even know.
Tattoos everywhere. And they assume that I'm some kind of.
And they don't even
convict
realize
asshole.
that you're a big ass softie.
Yeah. They think I'm some.
Yeah, we talk a lot of shit, but we're pretty soft inside.
I
Just want to fly.
just want to fly.
Okay.
Put on. Last one.
That was a pretty good Sig Heil. Are you
Sig Heil muscle bound women.
ready
Sig
for the
Heil.
best one yet?
Where you at, Holy Home?
I'd like to Sig Heil family trees.
Family tree.
And what do I mean by that? I
don't
mean
know.
that just recently, just yesterday, the Trumps, they cut down their family tree.
What do you mean they cut down their?
They had a
tree?
family tree, apparently. I don't know what that means, but they got a picture of Donald Trump Jr. sitting down on the stump of the family tree. And just look at this shit. How awkward does he look sitting down?
He looks like he's loving it. I think there's an extra branch right there. He looks
Sticking
he's
right
taking-
up his ass.
Yeah.
I will screen
Look
share
how
this.
brand new that flannel looked. Like, he bought acid wash jeans. Like, oh, yeah, he bought himself some acid. Look at how new those shoes are. Those shoes have never been worn before. That dude just had a photo of himself taken on a stump. I think he's trying to hook up with Paul Ryan. I think he wants Paul Ryan's weenie. Yeah.
That's a very, it's like those shoes. It's like, imagine if a black dude comes around, he's like, give me your fucking Timbs. I bet he'd be shitting his pants. He's like,
He'd be like,
I
is that
got
right?
money.
He's like, yeah, I have my Timbs too. I'm never gonna wear them again anyway. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
because he's never walked in the woods.
And
Do you
where-
think that guy's ever walked?
Where the fuck is he even looking at? Like, he's looking out in the distance.
He's
He's looking
at
out the.
He's looking at his hot mom.
He,
His mom's smoking, bro.
I was gonna
He's
say,
like, Mom, I know it's wrong, but
Ivanka.
Milana.
have you
His mom's Ivanka.
Yeah,
Ivanka's
Milana.
the daughter.
But have you
Melania.
seen that fucking that clip of Hillary Clinton looking at Bill Clinton during the inauguration? Bill Clinton was looking at Ivanka and he mouthed Ivanka, and then Hillary Clinton just turned and just started staring into his soul, and he just like looked, gave her a little bit of look, and just went back to looking.
He's like,
And she's like,
I just want a
"Holy-"
blowjob, baby. I'm not gonna put it in there.
Yeah. And I think what he's looking at is at the bright future of the wall that they're going to try to build. And an interesting thing that I heard the other day is that apparently Justin Trudeau, who is Prime Minister of Canada, there's a statement by him saying, "Hey,
Ivanka gets divorced, I'm free.
not that, but if
Melania gets divorced, I'm free.
if Donald Trump actually builds the wall and ban all Muslims and all that stuff, that he's going to be accepting all of the ones that he doesn't accept in his country." And I heard a thing saying that if that happens, we'll also have to build a border between Canada and the U.S.
Nobody's afraid of Canadians.
No, because of all the Muslims.
They don't even have good
there.
bacon. Who can be afraid of them? They have horrible
Yeah.
bacon.
Canadian
afraid
bacon
of
is
Canadians?
so overrated. I don't get.
Canadian bacon.
That's why pineapple pizza is so bad.
I use some Canadian bacon. Oh, shit, ham.
So
It's a wrap.
I think that was a really good podcast.
That's a wrap.
That was a really good podcast. We did our Sig Hiles. We did a introduction to Pops' old
They
time
heard that
story.
shit, you don't gotta repeat it.
I'm just
Sig Hiles.
giving you guys a good send off. While my
Giving you
dad
a
is
send
trying
off.
to. What, you're trying to watch Walking Dead right now, or are you missing?
No, Walking Dead already happened.
But I thought they're doing a rerun.
Now
after
the
Walking
new
Dead.
season premiere of Into the Badlands is on. I missed that too. I love you all. You one person that looked for 12 seconds. If I could do anything for you, I hope it's not your laundry. I hate laundry.
Okay, well, that's
Good night.
it. Y'all have a good night.